We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to your live boxing ego unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to your live. Oh yeah. It ain't over, mother trucker. Bad news for Shakur Stevenson. Let your boy Ego take you through it. We gonna get unpacked. I'm gonna let you know what I noticed. Nobody seems to be talking about it, but leave it to your boy Ego to get it cracking. From the top. Now, nobody really seems to be talking about it, but let the best in the business, and it's not even close, let you know what's going on. I noticed something. And the Shakur Stevenson radical, the Inshakurs, they're not gonna like it, but on my channel, I gotta keep it real. What is it that I noticed? There's a great chance that Shakur Stevenson's resume is gonna age like coconut milk. Yeah, you heard it. I said it's gonna age like coconut milk. Let me explain to you, man. Shakur Stevenson, good fighter. He a good little fighter. However, he doesn't have a deep resume. Now, Shakur is very confident in his abilities. He's always talking about, I could beat Tank, you know, put this guy in front of me, William Zepeda, yada, 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 and it's gonna be easy work. Speaking of Zepeda, since we're talking about Shakur, I gotta break this down for you. Shakur Stevenson backtracked, and not in a good way. And to me, as a man, I don't think that's a good sign. I'm not saying there's never a point in time where somebody could be wrong and admit they're wrong, but how is it this? Explain this to me. I've been making content over 10 years, longer than these fighters. A lot of these new generation fighters have been pros. And guess what? In 10 plus years, I've never issued a public apology for anything. And I'm not just because I'm stubborn. Oh, Ego, he's so stubborn. There's no reason for me to apologize. You know, I come from a different generation. This new generation is different. They play by different rules. Like you see guys like Tekashi in hip hop, he can rat and snitch out his buddies and stuff like that after claiming to bang. But then at the end of the day, when the heat is on, he folds and turns on all his people and say, hey, man, who's going to look after my family if I'm locked up doing football numbers? But that's the type of stuff that you should think about before they throw a RICO case on you. You know what I mean? And then you don't have to worry about it. But in my day, that wouldn't be accepted in hip hop. Like, you can't just snitch and then come back like nothing happened and everything be cool. It literally wouldn't happen, right? We're in different times. And the same thing with these fighters. Some of what we're seeing from this new generation, this new caliber, this new breed of fighter is not, in my opinion, it's not good. It's not good. It's not a good sign or a good trait, if you will. But here we are, and that's where the game is at this current point in time. And I'm just the one who's going to keep it real about it. But I noticed this difference and this change with these new fighters. They do stuff and different things that I really feel the fighters from yesteryear would never have done. The reason I know, because they never did it. You know, I get it. They didn't have social media. Maybe if they came in a generation where social media was popping and prevalent, maybe they would have opted to act different. I guess we'll never know. But this is what I'm talking about regarding Shakur Stevenson. Exhibit A. He recently posted on his verified page, excited about my next fight. It was a misunderstanding between Turkey and the team. My apologies on my part for overreacting. Flex emoji. Less work, Turki Al-Alshikh. Oh man, say it ain't so. Funny thing is, if you watch my channel, you really watch Boxing Ego, this is what I've complained about regarding Shakur Stevenson. For me, I don't really care if he's beefing with Turki or not. That doesn't pay my bills. That doesn't really affect me in any way if they're on good terms or not, because I got a job to do and there's plenty of other fights to cover. I don't really care about that type of parameter. However, if you watch my content, like truly watch my content, I've told you guys about Shakur Stevenson. And I told you he's a good fighter, skilled fighter. Notice I keep it fair and consistent. But one thing I've criticized him for is it's like his emotional responses, right? Radical, over the top, feeling the need to counter everything when something is said about you, feeling the need to go to social media, and this emotional immaturity, I'll call it, it seems to be not just Shakur Stevenson, but it seems to be a lot of these fighters in this new generation. And it's really sad. And I'm wondering what is changed since I was in school and things like that, where men are acting like this. You know, what is causing people to act like this radically? Another example of another person was Devin Haney. Devin Haney is promoting his fight with Jose Ramirez, and he's sitting next to Eddie Hearn. But if you guys recall and remember, Devin Haney, he had words and he did the same thing where he went at Eddie Hearn, similar to what Shakur did with Turki, right? Where something didn't go his way, he was offended or angered in the moment or whatever. And then the first line of defense, the first response was you going to social media and making it a public issue. This is crazy. And then now you in essence, you retract it. I mean, what is going on, bro? So Devin Haney, he was like, Eddie Hearn's a snake. Eddie Hearn, he's the fakest ninja I ever met. Da 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 da. Now you're working with Eddie Hearn and he's putting on this Times Square card with Turki. And to me, it comes across as fake. Like, it comes across as fake if, like, for me, I don't pretend. If I don't like you, I don't pretend to like you. You know what I mean? And that's just what it is. Like, there's not going to be any confusion, if you will. But to say somebody's fake, like, because, like, for example, if I say somebody's fake and I don't trust them or they're a snake, then you're pretty much marked for life. Because if I don't trust you now, then how is that ever going to change? Like, it's in life I've experienced, it seldom does. Like, if I think someone's shiesty or grimy or whatever, there's usually a reason for that. I don't just wake up and say, oh, you know, and judge a person. So they usually had to show me something to make me even say that to begin with. So usually what I've seen in life is your first reaction, your first response is your true response. Like, that's who you are. Like, imagine this, because I'm the king of analogies too. If you're driving, somebody does something illegal or cuts you off, you get angered. Your first response, your temper, is to like cut them off back or cuss them out or flip them off. That's who you are, right? That's your real reaction. Even if you decide, hey, it's not safe to have a road rage incident, blah, 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 and then you don't pursue it, your first reaction is generally the real reaction. And we see this all the time with celebrities. Celebrities will make all these comments, offend all these people. And then when they start losing brand deals and endorsement deals and money, then they're like, oh, I didn't really mean it. I'm sorry I offended Jewish people or black people or this, that, and the third. And it just becomes hard to believe. Like, if you didn't get in trouble, would you still be saying this? I remember my mom, when I was a kid, she used to always say this. When people, let's say we be watching the news or something, and then somebody unalive somebody, 187, right? And then they're in court crying and apologizing to the family. And my mom used to always be like, those are fake tears. You're not crying because you're remorseful. You're not crying because you're sad. You crying because you got caught. And I always remember her saying that, you know what I mean? And I think it's true. A lot of times people like the judge, you need the judge to save you from capital punishment. You know, you want mercy after you did some heinous action. So now you putting on the show and crying and stuff. But if you were out in the street and they couldn't link you to the crime, would you be crying at home? Probably not. You crying because you know you just threw your life away and you're about to get sentenced. Again, this new generation, they kind of play by a different set of rules where they'll emotionally lash out, and Devin Haney will say Eddie Hearn is fake. But then when he seen him at the Daniel Dubois AJ fight, because he got in and got his ticket situated or whatever, then Eddie Hearn's mad and confronting him, and he's like keeping it cool. But what happened to the Twitter, you're the snake and the biggest fake that I've ever met, and you a fake dude, and these promoters are BAs and stuff. Devin Haney was saying that, remember? He was like, I would have been back in the ring by now if it weren't for these promoters. You know what I mean? And then now you have Shakur Stevenson, virtually the same thing. He goes in, and I'm going to pull it up because I believe in accountability. I don't care about what y'all talking about. Me, Boxer Ego, it's accountability. You said it, that's what we holding you to. It's Twitter. It's the internet. People don't forget. Just because you retract it and take it away and, you know, try to smooth it over, it don't change the fact that came out your mouth, or this is what you typed or text or whatever. And again, I find it funny because I literally put a video out about this, and I was late. Like, I literally said in the video, I've been meaning to make this video for days. However, I'm running a little bit late because I just been busy, right? But I still wanted to put my thoughts out there. The same day that Boxing Ego put this video out where I said that Turki and Shakur were beefing, literally that day is when he retracted and apologized. But this is what he said previously. And I went over that in that video, which is why you guys got to subscribe so you don't miss a thing. Shakur Stevenson, crying emoji. Is that what they told you? Turki promised me a number, and now he going way back on that number that he promised me and sending his towel boys to run me the info instead of telling me straight up what he trying to do. I don't bow down to nobody, Mr. De La Hoya. Now let's negotiate. So the man went from I don't bow down to nobody to I'm excited about my next fight. It was a misunderstanding between Turki and the team. My apologies on my part for overreacting to some traffic. I mean, this is crazy. Like, you literally were talking about I don't bow down. Is that what they told you? Turki sending his towel boys, yada, yada, yada. This ain't gonna fly. This ain't gonna cut it. Shakur also said that real men stand up and never bow down to nobody but the creator. So how do you go from saying all of that to my apologies? It was a misunderstanding, I swear. Da, 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 da. This is crazy. So it's pretty safe to say that something changed his mind. The reality kicked in. Turki, he probably strong-armed him. Eddie Hearn or whatever. His advisors warned Shakur probably that, hey, you playing with fire and these people are in control of making something happen. You don't want to ruin this. So therefore, you need to apologize. That's what it sounds like more than likely happened in this instance, because nothing else really makes sense of why you would say all that. I don't bow down to no man. I only bow down to the creator, God, yada, yada, yada. And then now you copping please, talking about you excited for your next fight. My apologies for overreacting. Bro, this new generation looks absolutely silly. A man who can't control his emotions is a dangerous man, and not in a good way, right? There's this lack of emotional maturity that we're seeing with this new Gen Z. And they'll say that it's weird because they'll say the exact opposite. They'll be like, I'm a man's man. I'm an alpha. You guys are beta males. But then what's more beta? Saying something, standing on it, and going down with the ship of what you said and being accountable for what you said, or saying stuff like, and creating enemies and burning bridges because you were mad in the moment, and then days later, when Boxer Ego do a video conveniently, you retract it and say, oh, I didn't even mean it like that. Let's work. That sound weak. I don't care what none of y'all talk about. That sounds weak. And I said it before. For me, I've been doing this longer than Shakur has been a pro, right? I don't apologize. I haven't apologized for anything. I come from a different cloth, a different generation where you wouldn't say something you wouldn't say to the person in real life. That's one facet. So anything I say on my channel, I would say in public to the person, right? So that's one thing. Two, the other thing you don't do is emotionally react to something that you will later regret. I always believe in take the extra time, right? Like, have you guys ever done this? Like, it could be a relationship, it could be a business dealing, whatever, where you write a nasty email or a nasty text, and just before you hit send, you reconsider and then erase it and then change it to something that's not nasty, like, okay, or we'll talk about it later or something like that. And completely, I've done that a lot because I haven't always had the greatest temper, especially when I was younger, right? So I've had those moments. I mean, I think we all do. If you say you never had a moment like that, then you either never lived a life worth mentioning or you're lying. But I've done that. The difference is I can have the restraint to, in that moment, feel angst, feel anger, feel pain or whatever, and then want to cuss somebody out or say this or that, and then think about it before I hit the send button. If I send this will forever change this relationship. Or if I send this, what I say, there's no taking back. Like, you could apologize. I believe words are weapons. I really do. And you could say something, but those words stick. The words tend to stick. Like, if somebody says something about me, I'm gonna remember what you said about me. And you could apologize to it, but I still remember what you said. So I put you in a different category. You know what I mean? And maybe that's just me. Maybe that's something I gotta work out. But all in all, you gotta place your words and do it effectively. And I don't believe in making mistakes, and I don't believe in regret. I think it's all part of the journey, all part of life, going through things. But this new generation is weird. This new generation is extremely weird, where all they do is lash out, say something, post and delete, or they get talked to, and then all of a sudden they gotta retract it and take back what they said. Again, for me, I come from a different cloth where it's say it right the first time. That's what I believe in. I don't believe in this whole like tweet and then I gotta take the tweet down because somebody told me. I don't really believe in that. And my track record speaks for itself. You could go watch my content. I ain't take no video down. I ain't take no tweets down, right? I put out a tweet about Tank, which is still true. And after the Lamont Roach fight, you guys know it's even more true because we seen how people acted and, you know, the hate that people had in their heart for Tank. I ain't take the tweet down. Why would I? I posted it. I thought about it. I knew what I was saying. I still feel everything I said in the tweet. If people are mad at it, oh well, what you gonna do about it? You know what I mean? I'm putting it out and that's just what it is, right? Oh, I'm unsubbing. Good. Don't watch me. Unsub. You know, so me, y'all know your boy Ego, he's different and I move different in the best way possible. But I can't really speak for this new generation. This new generation is throw stones and then hide their hand when it gets sticky. I don't believe in that. And that's pretty much what Shakur did by backing off the blocks. You would have to understand, if you're saying F the towel boys, first of all, I don't know if anyone else thought of it like this, but given the fact that Turkey is Middle Eastern from Saudi Arabia and he's Muslim, that is not a good choice of words, because I've heard racial slurs and rhetoric that involve towels when talking about Middle Eastern people. And I'm not trying to create an issue that maybe wasn't there. I'm not saying Shakur Stevenson intended it in a racial tone. However, when you say certain words and say certain things, you have to understand it can be taken the wrong way. You see what I'm saying? So I don't understand what Shakur's aim was by taking shots at Turkey anyway. I get it in terms of if you were promised more money, but you figured that out behind closed doors. Why take shots at somebody and he just fed you an electrician and overpaid you for the electrician fight? You know what I'm saying? This new generation is like they don't think. The man gave you an electrician, a PG&E worker, and paid you $4 or $5 million for it probably, and he really didn't have to do it. He could have just canceled your fight and said, enjoy the show, we'll give you ringside tickets. You know what I mean? And then this how you repay him. It's a dumb play. And I wish this generation would take a step back and see how they're moving. The other bad sign with this new generation, especially in boxing doing this, is it's like the boy who cried wolf. If you constantly put things out and then delete it or have to retract it and take it back, your word means dog-ish. You know what I mean? And I'm giving y'all real gems now, because this ain't these other channels on YouTube, on TikTok. I give you real content. You see it. I don't play. I give you high quality audio, high quality visuals, and real life lessons. There's a lot of low quality content in the world of boxing. I'm dropping real gems for life. F boxing. This is about life. And in life, you got to think about your actions and possible cause and effect or reactions that you may receive when you do what you do. So therefore, me, I come from that. I'm very strategic. I move in accordance to what I really believe in. I'm not saying I don't make mistakes, but some of the potential mistakes are automatically off top limited for a person like me, because I have a filtration system. Like I said earlier with the text message, sometimes, like everybody else, your temper flares up and you want to say something. And then maybe you realize, hey, I need this job. I don't have enough money to pay my rent or whatever. I'm not saying this is my situation, but I'm saying a person. If I cuss this manager out right here and there, and then I get fired, then what? I got the satisfaction of cussing the person out, but then I'm screwed and I won't be able to pay my rent. So you got to think about stuff like that, especially when you don't have the leverage. Now, if you're a millionaire, then that's something different. You could tell them how you feel, and those consequences mean very little because you'll be good either way. But a lot of people don't get their situation like that, and the consequences actually would affect you. Same thing with Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson, people are saying you're boring. Some people are complaining the way you fight. People are leaving Newark, your hometown. When you fought Artem Haratunian, people said you fought Edwin De Los Santos and ran, and now Keyshawn's about to fight him. So if he looks better or stops Edwin De Los Santos or something like that, your resume is gonna age bad. Then you got Abdullah Mason, who's supposed to fight your leftovers too. Nakathila, the African that you had problems with. So you're not really in a leverage position. You definitely have no leverage over Tank, things like that. So to go against Turkey, and then what? Like, it just doesn't seem like a sensible play. And that's why it seems like he had to come to his senses, or somebody told him, hey, you should really retract that statement. But again, all that can be eliminated by having a filtration system and thinking about what you do before you make it a public issue. Why does Shakur and a lot of people in this new generation, why is it their first instinct to run off to Twitter and social media to complain? Like, I see it on TikTok. They're like, oh, these gas prices are so crazy. Oh, and they're crying. Like, it's this generation is weak to me, bro. And I'm not saying everybody. I'm sure there's some like stand-up people doing well for themselves. But what I'm saying is, like, why would your first instinct be to complain about gas and food prices and then do a cry video crying on camera about how you can't afford it? Like, if you don't do a DoorDash or wash some cars, or like, instead of crying, unless you're expecting people to feel sorry and do a GoFundMe for you so you can pay for your gas and food, you should probably come up with a more substantial and solid plan of how you can fix your situation. You ain't never seen your boy Ego get on wax and start crying for anything. And I've had my fair share of pain in my life, and ups and downs, and things didn't go my way, or things that upset me. I wish I would get on the internet to make a cry tape. I feel like if you're making a tape of you crying, there's really nothing wrong with you. Because when I'm really depressed and when I'm really going through stuff, I don't want to talk to nobody, let alone get on camera and cry in front of people. And then some people, you know, there's a saying that goes, don't tell people your problems, because most people don't care, and then the others are glad that you got them. So I don't know. This new generation is weird, where they feel it's in their best interest to respond to everything and go to social media no matter what to address whatever they're going through. And it also makes, as a man, it makes you a mark, like a target, right? Because if people know this and that presses your buttons and I'll get a response, then they could do things intentionally to trigger you. Like, if you know calling Shakur boring is gonna offend him, then you can say nasty comments on his page and know he'll probably like block you or respond to you. You know what I mean? So it makes you manipulatable. I don't even know if that's a word. It makes you easy to manipulate and to control because you're too emotional. So that's another reason a man shouldn't be, he should be more on his stoic and more about his stoicism, right? Because if people say nasty things about you and you have no reaction, no emotion, they don't know what to think. But we know Shakur, if Tank says anything, like Shakur's a bum or blah, blah, he's gonna respond to it. And it just makes you predictable and easy to manipulate, like I said. So that's enough gems for the day. I'm really him. I'm really the best in the business. This was an easy video. Hopefully you guys learned something from it. But all in all, a terrible look for Shakur Stevenson to go against Turki, only to days later have to come back out and retract it. You know what I mean? I don't know if he had to delete it. And Turki got some of these boys in check, where if they say anything, like Schofield said I was poisoned, then all of a sudden he deleting the tweets and the stories and the posts. I don't know what's going on over there, but like Tank said, it's looking like a cult over there where you can't have no opinion. Or it could just be Turki got bread, and if you go against it, you could get cut out of the rotation. And these dudes are so desperate because a lot of them aren't stars, right? Outside of Canelo and Ryan Garcia, they don't really have no star power. So they need that Turki bread. You know what I mean? But let me know what you guys think. This was another easy, great video by your boy Ego. Shakur, hopefully he learns, especially you got a kid, You're a grown man, you know what I mean? Learn from it to not always be so easy to move and manipulate. And there are gonna be times where you get upset. Going to social media is not always the ticket. And actually, I would venture off to say 9 times out of 10, it don't make sense to air something out. You know what I mean? Like, if you want a war with somebody, you should really be sure that's what you want. We unpacked. Live streaming can be tough, which is why I use StreamYard. Click the link in the description for StreamYard, which is an awesome tool that enables you to set up your stream with ease of use. Get great results with live streaming. It's what I use. Stream to social media with ease with StreamYard. Live streaming is here to stay. Engage with your audience using StreamYard. Great way to reach out to your audience and connect. So you need a tool that can do that. If you're new to YouTube and you're struggling to get views, one tool I can provide to you is TubeBuddy. I've been on YouTube over 10 years. I use TubeBuddy daily to crank out videos just like this one that you're watching. Learn how the pros do it with TubeBuddy. YouTube receives a lot of traffic, which also means a lot of creators, a lot of people putting out content. So you need to learn the ropes so you know how to separate yourself, especially if you're new. But even if you're a pro, use TubeBuddy. The link is in the description. Get more views, more subscribers, and a higher click-through rate, so ultimately you can realize all of your online goals. Use my affiliate link in the description and grow your channel fast.